in Tulum at the moment?
Yes, we just came here last night.
Oh wow.
And it was like a last minute plan. We were supposed to go to Cancun, but we skipped Cancun because it's too touristy, too many people.
Sim and Kartik, thank you so much for joining me today on the Tiny Sessions podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, it's lovely to have you. For anyone who hasn't heard about you guys or hasn't seen your space, could you just tell us a little bit about yourselves and also your background?
Go for it.
You want me to go for it? Okay, so we are Kartik and Sim, husband and wife couple. We've been married for about a year, a little bit over a year now, and we're traveling with our 3-year-old dog, who we still refer to as a puppy, Everest. He's a border collie and lab mix. He's the sweetest boy ever. We're traveling from Canada to Patagonia. So we started our journey in Toronto, Ontario, and we drove all the way across Canada and down the Pacific coast. And now we're currently in Mexico. Been in Mexico for about 7 months now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much our second home at this point. And
it's our third country, and we've been here for way too long.
Yeah, but no regret. We love it here. And the goal is to get to Patagonia some point by next year, hopefully. So we're just on a journey to do that and just experiencing different cultures and different experiences along the way.
Yeah, and just for our background, we are our background. We are Indians by birth, and we have like the idea of this whole account that we have is called the Brown Vanlife, and the idea is to share and represent all like the brown community in this van life space, because there's not many of us doing van life, and when we started off there was no one doing van life. Our South Asian backgrounds. So we want to be the reference point for anyone who's looking into start a nomadic life, and how to do it, or like if they just want to get inspired, we are there and we exist, and you can always reach us at the Brown Van Life.
That's amazing. I love that. Could you tell me a little bit about your space, so the layout of your space?
Yes, for sure. The van itself is a Dodge 1977 Dodge camper. It has a pop top, so that makes the space more like roomy. We can stand inside. That was one of the biggest
parts.
Yeah.
And it's not as big as like a modern day Sprinters, so it's slightly less, I would say, less wider than a Sprinter, and
less wider and less longer, but it's perfect for two of us and a dog. We wanted an older van just because we like the nostalgic look of it. We like the vintage vibe and retro vibe. Yeah, we just wanted to be able to complete this journey in something that's more classic than one of the newer vans. We definitely stand out everywhere we go, and people definitely turn their heads around and see what's rolling down the streets.
Yes, I love that.
Inside the van, it's we had like 2-3 priorities when we were designing the van: a comfortable bed, a place to work. I cook a lot, so a really good kitchen, counter space, and like storage space, and that's about it. So like when you come in the van, it's just like straight into the kitchen. That's in front, and that is storage, a countertop, and you turn left. It's the
couch space.
It's a bed / couch that becomes a couch in the day and becomes a bed, and it's a big queen size bed. Super comfortable. The three of us, me, Everest, and Kartik, can sleep on it, and that's pretty much it. We have not incorporated a full like a section for shower and toilet because we didn't have that kind of open space in our van. We didn't want to make it too crowded, so we don't have
that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you wish that you had a toilet space or shower space, or do you find that actually it doesn't matter and you're absolutely fine without it?
I think it's overhyped in the sense like you're like, oh my god, how do you live without a shower or a toilet? And then we've been on the road for 16 months now and never felt like, oh man, I really miss having a shower, because we have an outdoor shower, like a pop-up shower. Have an emergency toilet, and the truth is there are accessible toilets everywhere you go. Even in Mexico, even in a third world country, you will have a gas station, a coffee shop, a restaurant, always accessible to you. And we make it a big deal in our heads not having a bathroom, but the truth is you only use it like once in the morning and it's done, your business is done, and you can carry on. So you can't just cut out so much space in your camper van for that one need that you just do once in the day, you know. I just thought it was overhyped.
And then for the showers, I mean, especially in Canada and the US, it's like super, super easy. There's truck stops which have really clean showers.
That's how we shower.
It could probably be cleaner than the showers you would maintain in your own camper van if you had a shower. You pay for a shower and take your shower, and you're out of there, and you don't have to worry about storing water, throwing out the dirty water. All of that mess is out of the way. And same with Mexico. Like so far in Mexico, you pretty much pay to stay in campsites, and they all have showers. So
I see.
In that sense, definitely, you don't really require a shower or a toilet to be in the camper van.
That's really handy to know as well, because I think some people think, oh, I get a bit nervous. Some people get nervous to put a shower in a space because they think I've got to have extra water, I've got to carry extra weight. And then they sort of worry also about, I know one of my concerns, I decided not to put a shower in because I was worried that if I did, what happened if it leaked or the extra moisture in a shower, or even just water going everywhere. I know that I would have water splashing everywhere. So I think it's really handy to know by someone who is trying it, and actually, you know, like you say, there's so many places that you can just go and have a shower and it doesn't actually cause any problems. And then you've got extra space as well, haven't you? You know, like you say, with your kitchen and things like that. And that's what you're using that space far, far more as well.
You kind of have to understand what is it that you need on a daily basis and design your mind around it. Something that in your head that works in a condo or in your house might necessarily won't work like inside a van. Right. So you have to kind of just reevaluate your needs.
Definitely. No, I really like that. And you guys have already said about the travels that you've been on so far, like the places. Could you talk us through that in a bit more detail? Like, are there any little stories that have come up along the way, or experiences that have happened from that start and then to where you are now?
That's such a loaded question, because it's just, we have experienced so much in the past year and a half that I don't know where to start. But just to give you an overview, like the itinerary we have followed, it's east to west coast of Canada, then the Pacific coast of US, then Baja, then we shipped our campervan to Mexico mainland, and then in Mexico we have covered around 15 states.
We're pretty much Mexican experts now.
But then like we have had really good experiences, but highlight has been the kindness of people we've met and how they just accepted us and like helped us like their own. Like they never felt like, oh, they're tourists or we don't know them.
Oh, that's nice.
They're like in the beginning we met this Mexican guy. His name was Nato. He just like met us on a beach because I was playing with his nephew, and he invited us over for dinner. And then he's like, you guys can stay here for a few days. And we had some issues with the camper. He helped us fix those, made food for us. Like that's literally our day one in Mexico. And people were saying such negative things about Mexico, that, oh, it's unsafe, it's this and that. And this was our first day in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people are pretty much like defending us and saying, why are you guys going to Mexico?
Yeah.
Like it's super unsafe. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah. But then we go there and this family like accepts us in their house and like really
just gives us everything.
Yeah. And then we come to mainland Mexico. We meet this girl, Paloma, and her beautiful, amazing, sweet human beings. We were in Mexico City for 2 months, and they were like literally our adopted family.
Oh, that's so lovely.
They took care of us, and then not like in their house, but we were like isolating somewhere else. They would drop off food, just making sure we are safe and healthy all the time. And every time and then last 1 week before leaving Mexico City, we literally stayed in their house.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and they literally treated us like their family, and just
just involved us in all their Mexican traditions, their festivals that we were part of,
we met their
meeting like their
extended
extended
family,
family.
Oh,
and for like a cottage weekend with them. It's just, I think that's been our highlight, just the love that we have received from Mexican people. And that's what we want to say, that Mexico is a beautiful country, and like you should not be scared to come here and just give it a chance and experience it, because the people are amazing.
definitely. And I think that's so lovely to say as well, because I've been really lucky to experience that, where I've traveled to different places and I've had a family who has like taken me under their wings, and they were a couple that I did not even know. They were basically strangers, and now they're friends to this day. And there's something that is, if anyone ever experiences that, it's something that feels so good, and it puts so much faith in like people as well, and human people, and people like, there are always, I call them bad apples, there's always bad apples out there in the world, but there's a lot of good people. And like when stuff like that happens, it sounds really cheesy, but it feels really warm and fuzzy. Like it just feels really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it restores your faith in like how good human beings are. Like I know there's a lot of bad things happening, but then after you experience like the generosity of strangers, you truly see the goodness of humankind.
Yeah.
And you believe that the world is a good place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What was that?
It is a good place.
It is. Yeah, it is.
All the negative media and stuff, it can feel like, oh my God, where are we headed? But then just like a small like a small gesture from a stranger can change everything.
Definitely.
And so to sum up our experiences, I think like we've been to a lot of beautiful places, seen a lot of like unique and out of worldly things that nobody probably would have seen, and we've been fortunate enough to experience. But the things that stick with us the most is definitely meeting these amazing human beings that have taken us in as their own.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that just sticks with you. It's almost like a snapshot in your mind, isn't it? That stays with you forever. And that friendship, it just builds and grows as well, which is like, that's special in itself as well. You guys were saying about how you shipped your van over. Was that a really difficult process? I know sometimes when people want to make journeys that are like the ones that you guys are doing, and maybe this is why not as many people do it, because they get daunted by the whole shipping a van over. Can you just chat us about how that worked and how it worked for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, our journey has been little difficult in the sense that
our timeline started in COVID.
Yeah, because of that, and we still wanted to push through because we knew we were going to be mindful in the sense that when we crossed into the US during the COVID period, we never intended to go to any big cities or anything. We were planning to just stay in national parks or just out in the wilderness. So that was it. So the first shipping process was to get our van across Canada to the States because the borders were so close, we couldn't drive through. We've shipped our van twice at this point now already.
Oh.
So that was the first part. But surprisingly enough, even for us, we thought that this is going to be like a very challenging thing to do. But
it felt impossible.
Yeah,
like in
but
the
once we started the process, it was super easy. Just a few forms to fill out. You pay a broker, and they pretty much take care of it. You just have to find a good broker. That's the important aspect.
Yeah,
and they guide you through the paperwork. They guide you through like what you need to do with the van to be able to cross the border.
Oh, okay.
With everything. So it's like, it sounds such an impossible and, as you said, daunting task. But once you have a broker, that's the first step. It's all sorted after that.
Oh, that's amazing.
After that, when we got to Mexico, we had to come into the mainland Mexico from Baja California. You have to ship your van again. And this part is like super straightforward because literally everybody that takes their van to Baja and they want to visit mainland Mexico has to take this ferry across, or else you're doing like a 2-week drive around the country, come back down. So this one was easy too. You just go to the ferry port and they'll literally tell you everything you need to submit in order to take your van onto the
The
ferry.
yeah.
You just drive it straight onto the ferry. Nobody's involved in touching your van or anything, so it's super easy. You just drive it on. You have
15
to
hours.
suffer through 15 hours of being inside a hot, sweaty van, and then you make it to the mainland.
Yeah.
And you open the windows going,
Yeah,
take a bath.
We're here.
Because they put you in like a cargo ship. Because we had Everest, we couldn't go in the fancy
I see.
passenger ferry, and the dogs, they put you in like a cargo ferry, and they're like these trucks around you, like 30 trucks, and they're
Yeah.
running air conditioning all night, so their truck is running all night, and you're in the box.
Oh, yeah.
15 hours, it's like it gets really like suffocating. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet.
Part of the journey.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah, no, I could. No, it's
Someday.
really good to hear those things as well, because it gives people a proper idea of what it's like as well. And who was there? Can I ask who the broker was that you guys used, that you found that was really good
Oh, that was in Vancouver.
in Vancouver?
To come across
Come
the
across
States,
the
yeah,
US.
but I mean that's like that's I don't think that's required anymore because the borders are open
I
from
see.
Canada to the US.
Our
They're
next
open.
big shipping is from Panama to Colombia.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like the big daunting one,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
that's like crossing through a major gap and then like
different countries.
putting your van away and then you're not even in the ferry. You gotta
Yes.
leave it at another port. So that's a big one. But it's also like the information's already out there, and a lot of people who are on the same journey just pass the information along to you. So you just follow the same things. And I mean, we're going to be figuring that out to ourselves.
Yeah, in the next like few months, we have to figure that out, because we plan on crossing around March or April. So
Yeah.
you have to kind of start that process 3 months in advance. So I think in January we'll start the process.
I see. And you'll just do the same thing. You'll research, have a look, find a broker that lets you do that, and then just sort of trust that it's the right one. That's really interesting, and it's nice to know as well. It is possible, because it does become really daunting to people. Do you find that it's really expensive, or is it no different? For example, if you were paying for a flight, for example, to go from A to B, or some people worry that it can cost a lot to be able to ship their van over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the cost is very, very significant, considering the fact that you're moving an entire home on wheels
Yes.
across, and you're going to be saving on a lot of accommodation costs to
Yes.
the place that you're going to be traveling to. I mean, we've met travelers who shipped their van from Spain to Mexico,
And how
and
much?
Wow.
Spain to like Canada, and then they drove across down, or like Spain to Mexico, like bunch of places in Europe to this side of the world, and it only cost them like 1,500 euros. or
Oh, wow.
$2,000.
So
Like it's not that
people
expensive.
think it's like
yeah.
No.
$10,000, 10,000 euros. It's not. It's like around two grand,
Yeah, it's like paying, I guess, a flight ticket for your.
and it takes
Oh,
That's
you're-
it.
Yeah,
it takes like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the time is longer. It takes up to a month, but then that's it.
Yeah.
It's literally coming on a ship. So, yeah, it's not that expensive. Yeah, and
No,
then
it's not.
also, I guess like the most important part is to make sure you connect with fellow travelers who've already done this, and
Yes.
just ask them about their experience of the shipping aspect
And the reliable.
and the
broker.
reliability of
Yeah.
the ship. So, because you don't want things missing from your van.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just like you say, asking people who have already done it, so that you've almost like got rid of any mistakes that could happen, or limited them as well, which that's really, really good. I like that tip. I know that you have explained to me that your kitchen is your space that you love in your van, and I saw a post recently that had your like toaster set up, and I loved it, and it looked very simple, and I would love for you to just describe to everyone your toaster setup.
So toaster itself, you can like toasters are very high power consuming, so you can't really have a proper electric toaster in a camper. They really consume a lot of power.
Yeah.
So what we do, there's a brand, I don't know if you guys have it. It's called Jetboil. It's like a portable isobutane stove, like a mini stove, and then there's a Coleman stove grill, like a toaster grill,
Yeah.
with a metal plate at the base, and then 4 inclined like support,
metal wires.
metal
Yeah.
so they're like it's just a flame, and your toast is kind of at the right distance from the flame, so it's not burning, but it's getting toasted. So it's just a hack, and you can toast up to 4 toasts at a time.
And then you just flip it over.
And you just flip the
Toast
toast
both
over.
sides.
I'll share a video with you so you can add it to.
Please do. Yeah, it's so simple. I was like,
Yeah.
where do I get one of these? And I couldn't work out what you would call it to search either on like Google.
It's called Coleman toaster grill.
stand or
Yeah,
something.
toaster stand. And the burner we use is jet boil, but you can use any burner.
Carrying on about the kitchen and the kitchen space, can you tell us about any of your go-to recipes or your favorite recipe that you love cooking in your van that other people could do easily in their tiny space?
So one thing that people assume that it's a tiny space, you can't cook elaborate dishes or flavorful dishes, like, and that's when I kind of challenge that, because I love cooking Indian food, and I knew that I would not sustain my life if I cannot have my Indian food, or if I cannot cook. It will be impossible for me to sustain this long term. So we kind of designed the camper van around it. I made sure I have a pantry for all my spices. I have a pantry for all the ingredients. I have a platform where I can cook, and because spices are so strong when you cook, we put like an exhaust fan right above the stove, so it takes out everything, so there's no remaining like smells or aromas in the van. So that's how I design it. And like I cook every Indian dish possible in this camper van, which every time I post a story, people get surprised. They're like, oh my god, how can you cook this in a camper van? And I was like, I just did, like, but I think our go-to is, again, but Indian food at the same time is not, I wouldn't say it's the fastest thing to cook. It takes, like, if you're starting, you have to give it like 20 to 30 minutes for a dish to be ready. And sometimes in van life, you don't have that. So our go-to meals are usually like a Thai curry, because you have the curry paste, the green curry paste, and the coconut milk separate, and you just chop the vegetable, throw it in, boom, it's done. So that's really fast. And then when it comes to Indian food, we do like a lot of like dals, like lentils, right? And we have a pressure cooker, like an Indian pressure cooker. So you put the lentils. Yeah, you'll never see a pressure cooker in a camper van. Only so we do like a lot of dals, because you just put ingredients in the pressure cooker and like it's ready to go. Those are like our go-to meals. What else do we cook? Like
eggs in the morning.
Yeah, we do breakfast eggs.
Breakfast eggs,
So we do like spicy eggs, like a egg masala or anda masala or something like that. And
avocado toast.
Avocado toast are big. And like we do
pastas. Pastas are easy.
But our go-tos are like Thai curry, some lentils, some sabzi or something.
Rice. We always make rice paper rolls.
Yeah, like the fresh rolls with the rice paper.
Yeah.
Those are super easy because there's no
cooking involved whatsoever.
Just eating fresh vegetables.
Yeah, and it gives you like a nice dose of vegetables. So those are
Oh, they're really nice as well. I've seen people make those and they're really lovely. And it's like you say, actually, you can make anything in a space. And those things that you're making, really, they're all in one dish as well. So really it's easier as well, because when you're having to wash up and things like that, it just makes it so much easier. And it makes the food nice as well, because all the flavors are encompassed in that one dish as well, that one pot, which is really cool. Oh, there's some lovely recipes in that. I love that. And I would love to know from you guys, how is it that you built your following on your Instagram page?
I think with Instagram, we in the beginning were just like very focused on sharing the landscapes. For the first few months, we were like, oh, let's put the beautiful places we are going and blah blah. And within like 2 months, everyone was like, hey, you're brown, you're Indian, and you're doing van life. Like, what? This is so cool. And like in the first few months, we realized that people are more interested in us as who we are and our journey, being Indian couple doing van life, than the places we go. So we switched the strategy around showing who we are, what we do, our experiences as an Indian couple on Vanlife. And that kind of just worked in our favor. Didn't do anything extra on top. We just shared our culture, like, in sharing Indian festivals, Indian dishes, and what it means to be Indian and how we deal with our issues and everything. So we just shared all of that, like authentic, genuine content, instead of chasing like this picture perfect image of van life. We've stayed away from that. We show the dirty parts, the messy parts, and like the breakdowns, everything. I think people were seeking that in van life when we started out, so it just organically kind of built up.
And then also the other thing we did was we didn't sell the idea of saying that you had to quit your job to do this lifestyle. We wanted to be clear that we are working individuals who just chose a different lifestyle path. Because I think that's something that everybody could do if they wanted to. You don't have to be a travel influencer to live this nomadic lifestyle. And funny enough, like being on the road, like we've actually met very few travel influencers. We've met more just digital nomads working regular jobs. And like the notion of travel influencers being the only ones doing this is very, very wrong.
It's wrong, Like, for us, like brown kids, just you work so hard and your family is committed to making sure you have a good career, a good path. And you're just like driven towards making sure you have a good life so you can give your next generation a good life. Like it's like a whole mental like process, they just tell you this growing up. So like pushing yourself away from that is really challenging, just like, hey, I have a great career and I'm going to quit it and just like go travel the world. It's just so unrealistic for us. So we were like, no, we're not going to preach that. We're going to tell them, hey, you can sustain a career and live your life and have a balance and like kind of do it all. And that was, I think that's
kind of what happened. And then Sim is really good at just making sure she responds to everybody.
So, engagement
like, it could be like 100 plus messages a day, but she'll make sure she gets back to everybody and their questions. So I think that's where the audience connects with us.
That's it. And I think they are like the two most important things. Like you guys have said that you are just showing yourselves, which are lovely and beautiful, but by just showing yourselves, you are showing the realities of van life, like you say, the good and the bad. And I think there's so much of Instagram that we don't always get to choose who's coming up on our feed when they're not on when we're not following them, and things like that. Especially if you're in the search box, it just brings up different people who the engine thinks that you might like. But if those people who are coming up and they're the influencers, or some of them are doing it fantastically, and there's some really, really great travel influencers who do show the good and the bad, but there are some as well who are just showing all these good sides, and it gives everyone a sort of, I call it a bit like a false advertisement, and so I think that is why people like get drawn to you guys. And I think it's really important for everyone as well to know that you don't need to try, you don't have to go down the route of buying followers and doing all this stuff. Everything can just happen organically, and that's the right way to do it as well, not get sucked into everything else.
I think what people need to understand, that if you're buying followers or doing like this whole shortcut to get numbers, the brands, the companies you're trying to collaborate, they're smart enough. They can run your account through platforms and figure out how many fake followers you have, what kind of low engagement you have. They will not collaborate with you if you have fake followers. So even if it'll sound very like a really good idea to buy 100,000 followers, do not do that. It's going to backfire, and it's going to kill engagement, and the brands will not collaborate with you.
Exactly. And are you guys finding that you're having people like brands who are wanting to collaborate as well? Amazing.
If we are a smaller account, we are working with brands.
That's great. And I think it's really nice for people to know that, because Instagram is starting to change a little bit, and I think people still worry a little bit that they need to have a really high following before they can start to have that connection. And you guys are just showing that actually, no, you don't. You can still have that.
Yeah.
Brands don't even want you to put smaller accounts. I guess they don't really care to have you create content and post it on your own account. They just want you to create content for their own account or their own marketing materials. As long as you create good work, they're going to find you, and you're going to be able to get work. So that's what's been working in our favor. We don't have a huge audience to turn around sales for them, but I think we create pretty good content, and
we can share good stories. And we create good stories.
So we can create that for them, and they can utilize it and distribute it the way they need to.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really, really good tip for people as well who are wanting to sort of go down that route. And could you tell us a bit about the work that you guys do, that your sort of jobs that you work remotely?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a full-time freelancer. I have multiple clients in the IT space. So I specialize in HR systems.
Yeah.
He's basically just a freelancing IT consultant, and I'm doing digital marketing, like online marketing. And I take freelance clients based on that. And also my main role right now is to make our social media grow and get more work through social media.
Yeah, definitely using that platform.
Yeah,
definitely. Do you?
That itself is a full-time job.
Oh, it is. It really, really is. And I think not everyone realizes how much of a full-time job that is. If you put the full-time hours in, there's so much and more into it.
Yeah.
There is, just like with your content that you create is such good, high quality content. And to create that, it takes so much time to edit it the right way and film it and process it and everything that encompasses in it before, middle and end. It does really take time. And it's really nice to be able to address that on here as well, just in case like brands and other people are listening as well, because I think it's really, really important to sort of let it be known how much time it does take to create those things.
It's a lot of energy and effort. Like people think, oh, it's just a story, it's a picture. No, it's not. You have to go scout the location, you have to create the content, you have to edit it, and then you have to publish it. It's not a one single thing.
Definitely. And when you do freelance, do you use a platform? I know yourself, you've got the company that you do your HR with, but for yourself, do you have a platform that you use, a bit like when people have got I think there's like Skillshare and different things, do you use one of those at all?
Not true. I mean, I don't personally. I mostly just rely on my LinkedIn to network with folks in the same space, and I just try to find my gigs using LinkedIn.
Through LinkedIn, that's handy.
Have like long-term clients, so like we don't have to go out searching. The same clients keep renewing their contracts, because we've not been freelancers like recently because of COVID. We've been like working remote since 2018.
I see.
3 years almost full time, right? So we already have a workflow that works with us, and like the clients that trust us and know we can get stuff done. So we don't have to actively go out searching that much.
If people are listening and they're trying to get into this, I mean, there are definitely freelancing platforms out there, but the key is to just network. I know it's easy to say, but it's to network in the right spaces that you're in, and just make sure that your work is seen out there. And you will be seeked out to do the work.
Definitely. And like you say, I think it's really good idea of using LinkedIn as well, because it is specialist in that area. So that's a really, really good tip for people. It's really, really handy tip that. Did you guys always want to do van life and travel in a van? I know that you guys got married. Did you both have like the shared passion to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we were going to be travelers when we met. Like our our connection was based around traveling. Like we both love traveling, but the van life was like just like an idea in our head. It felt so unrealistic. We were like, okay, how will we sustain it? How will we do this? Because literally when you start off with the idea like this, it just feels so impossible in
Yeah.
terms of making it real, right? Because there's so many like questions you have in your head. So there was this idea. I read this article in BBC, and I shared with Kartik, and then that idea turned into reality when Kartik got on board, because he's like a go-getter. He's just like, if he has an idea, he has to execute it. And that was it. It took many years of like figuring out all the hurdles we had in terms of like
Yeah.
making a career work, convincing our parents, getting the van, all in all, everything. But step by step, we just together kept working towards it. And in a few years, we were able to get the campervan, and then here we are.
Oh, amazing. That's really cool. It's interesting to hear like the process of how you guys did it. And like you said, you felt like you had to sort of convince some family members and things, but you sort of just went through each stage. And like you said, like, you know, Kartik, like you're a go-getter. And you both just worked together and was like, no, we're doing this. And you've made it happen. And like you say, here you guys are. Did anyone inspire you guys during that process? Was there someone who was on YouTube or Instagram that inspired you guys to make this particular adventure?
For me, like the whole idea was inspired by Gunther. You know Gunther?
No,
He's
I
the guy
haven't.
who traveled in his Jeep all over the world.
Oh, wow.
You should look up. And there's an article that BBC did about his story. And this guy does not exist on social media, so nobody knew about him.
Oh,
And he came
wow.
back, and he recently passed away.
Oh.
Like last month or something.
Oh,
But he
no.
was the inspiration behind the whole trip. Like I saw his story, and I was just
Article, yeah.
blown away that just the places he's seen and the life he's lived. And I was like, this is something I want. I knew it like after reading the article. I want this in my life. Like I'm going on an epic road trip
Yeah.
at some point. And then while we were building the van, I think there were few accounts we really looked up to. There was Max and Lee from YouTube, because they were traveling the same way. So we looked up to
I
them.
see.
Yeah. And who else?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of just did a lot of research on Reddit.
Yeah.
We kind of didn't down the YouTube route too much.
But for tutorials, we did like how to
Yeah.
build the van. We watched a lot of
Yes.
tutorials, but
Yeah.
not so much the journey. The journey was a lot of just.
Yeah, what inspired us to do this? I think just that BBC article.
Just that article.
Mostly.
That was
yeah.
that thing that just hooked you.
Pretty much, yeah. We're
Yeah.
like, wow, this is something that can be done. And yeah, we always liked the idea of long-term travel. We hated the idea that we would only get to travel 3 weeks in a year with our
Yes.
full-time office jobs.
I remember.
And it always
yeah.
felt too short to like experience anything in those 3 weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember after when I read that article and I had this, and I just met him, or it's been like 1 or 2 years of like seeing each other. And I sent him, he was at work, and I sent him a link of the Google map. I was like, hey, look, there's this itinerary where people travel from Alaska and all the way down to South America. I just sent him the link of the Google map and let people drive. And it's like the most, and then I sent him a bunch of articles of people who have done this.
Yeah.
And that's it. Then he became super obsessed with that idea.
So we got to do it. We have to do it.
Pretty much, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that is such an amazing side of your personalities, because that is how you get these experiences. I know that in the past, when I've had wonderful experiences of, for example, in Norway, and I watched Ben Fogel's New Lives in the Wild, a TV show that we had here, and I watched it on TV, and I said to myself, I'm going there. And I don't know what it was. I just said, I'm going there. And I ended up going to the exact place that was on the TV show of the lady that he saw and stayed with. And like, there's something amazing about if you're not that sort of person already, if you can just change your mindset and just go, I'm going to do it. Even
Very
if to start with, some people do get daunted by that, don't they? And even if it is just one of those smaller trips, but if you can just say, right, I'm going to do it, just go and do it. And it's like you say with that amazing article about Gunther as well, who sadly has passed away, but what an incredible sort of life and fulfilled life he has created for himself.
Yeah, and I mean, now we're getting inspired by more people on the road who are doing even more amazing things than just this journey that we're on.
We're meeting like couples from Europe. They're like almost retired or retired.
They've been traveling for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. And they don't exist on social media. They don't care. They're like literally traveling the world on their truck campers, like badass truck campers.
That is so cool.
Like they have taken their camper to Pakistan and Asia and like places there nobody has taken their camper to, where it's like impossible to take your camper. And they have just epic, and they don't have Instagram, they have photo books. They share, but every time you meet them, they have, they're like, here is my Asia photo book, there's my Europe photo
that's so lovely.
a photo book, and you just see their pictures and you're just blown away. And you're like, you guys are living it. Like you guys don't care who knows you or not. You're living it for yourself, and that is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you seek a lot of validation in social media.
Yeah.
You feel like, what if nobody gets to know about me? Is this still worth it? It's totally worth it for yourself. That's very important to understand, that the true experience is like it doesn't come from the validation from social media. It comes from your own journey. So yeah, and these couples are just amazing. These couples we meet on road.
Oh, that sounds so exciting.
I guess they're our inspiration now.
Yeah, they're inspiration. They are like, they're just so amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. And it's just so fascinating to hear like all these people that you're meeting along the way. And like you say, they're not on social media. And the most important thing is that they're doing it for themselves, which I think you addressed it really well. We can get so clogged up and sort of overwhelmed with social media. And I think it is unfortunately one of those things that the younger generation who are just going to be starting social media are going into it with it already being so full on. So it's really lovely to hear that these people are out there as well. And like you say, they're the ones that are really sticking with you, like in your mind and everything, which is amazing. You guys earlier said about that you guys represent Brown Van Life. And I would love to know where we could find out more and sort of just find more people who represent yourselves and ourselves as well. So there's a lot of people who I love and hope are listening and are seeing you guys and thinking, oh my gosh, that's me. I want to do that. Is there anywhere else that you can think of that people can sort of go to and just feel influenced? Because there's not a lot of people out there, is there?
And sadly, there's not. Like, of course, as you said, Diversify Van Life is a great platform because they share such great diverse stories of van life. And a lot of these main accounts, van life accounts, they don't feature people of color or diverse backgrounds. It's just more about like showing the interiors of the van and not so much about the journey or the people. So unfortunately, there's no other platform. Of course, they can follow us at the Brown Van Life, and we share every time we come across someone inspiring, we share it on our feed. But we are working on like creating a little like Instagram account where we will feature all these, these cool couples we meet. They don't have Instagram. So we are working on like just like a feature account right now.
That would be amazing.
We will be sharing that very soon.
That's really cool. And it's really cool because that will also represent you guys as well by doing that. I'm picturing like a little TV show now. Your own like version of Ben Fogle where you go and
actually interviewing all these people like on the road.
Anybody interesting we meet.
We interview them.
Families who are traveling with their kids. Like these are things that you don't see on Instagram. Like traveling with toddlers. 60-year-old people, 60-year-old guy bicycling from Germany, like around the world, like just incredible,
So like we
incredible
make
people.
sure we record their stories because they're at some point we're going to share them with the world. Just don't know the format or the way we're going to like compile it, but we have like we're collecting all these stories.
Definitely.
Very powerful.
Definitely. And I think it's like you guys say, like for some reason there's not enough of everyone being sort of seen and shown and everything like that. And I think we can do more by, for example, like you guys doing that is doing extra as well. And I think I'd like to think by myself having so many different people, that is being sort of a part in the process. And even if you're not like myself who has a podcast, or like yourselves and you're traveling, if people are even just they enjoy social media, do you reckon that if people just try and find, so for example following you guys or following Diversify Van Life and just engaging with all these wonderful people, that will just start to get things moving a bit more? Do you think that will be the thing that will encourage everything to move forwards in the right direction?
Definitely. When you'll see that there's a demand for a content like that, there's a gap, right? People are realizing that these stories are missing. Like what happens on your Instagram, you're constantly like feeding yourself the same content. You don't even realize what you're missing because it's just constant, right? And then at some point, like people don't even realize that there's a gap, but now it's happening. People are voicing these opinions. They're like, hey, your feed is full of this, like you need to see something different, and that different needs to come in, and it's coming in slowly, but it'll happen for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's going in the right direction. I think now that people are aware of it, I think that's sort of the starting point, isn't it? Oh, that's so good. I always invite my community to ask a question. And the question that they would love to ask you is, how do you celebrate this festival of Diwali in your van?
Ooh.
Go for it.
I mean, this year we did it pretty big.
Yeah.
Then we usually, I mean, we would do a big celebration regardless if we were inside a home setting. But we knew that our home is going to be our van for the next, I don't know how many ever years. So we had to continue the tradition anywhere we go, anywhere we went, and we wanted to bring that tradition to people around us who would share that experience with us too and learn more about it. So that's kind of what we try to do this year. So this year we were in Oaxaca, in Mexico, and we were at this beautiful RV campground. Wow. And there were around maybe 20 other travelers there. And on the day of Diwali, we pretty much started off the day with doing a deep clean of the van, because it's important to do. You deep clean your house that day. Got new sheets, got new bed sheets, got ourselves new clothes. And then we went out grocery shopping to cook a massive feast for the entire campground.
Wow, so, for the whole entire campground.
Yeah, we just went to every camper and told them that we're making dinner for everybody tonight.
That is and so lovely.
So we started cooking up a massive feast from like the morning all the way to the evening.
Yeah, we were cooking for like 5-6 hours.
Because you just had your space in your van.
Yeah, and then I know this campground had a kitchen, but it was like a small stove. It was really annoying because the stove was really slow.
Oh.
But we made it work.
But we made it work. It was like took 6 hours, and
like people were seeing that we were putting in so much work into the cooking. So then some people started coming over and started helping us out. They were like part of the meal making process too. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how many dishes did he cook?
So Diwali feast is supposed to be big, so you can't just do one dish. So I did like 4 dishes, and like
I see.
I made Indian dessert, like multiple Indian mithais, which you couldn't find anywhere in Mexico. So I had to make them from scratch. So that's a lot of work. And then in the evening, we wore our traditional clothes, decorated so you're supposed to decorate your house with flowers. So we decorated our campervan with flowers.
Oh, lovely.
We were supposed to light up like diyas, like lights, little candles, because it represents like winning over darkness. So you light up everything. So
I see.
We ended up lighting up candles, and we did a puja, like a prayer.
Yeah, we invited everybody to the prayer too.
Everyone
Oh,
came for the
wow.
prayer. Yeah, and then we all did the prayer together, and I like kind of translated them the significance of the festival. And then we had a big meal together and just chatted about the whole culture and what the significance of Diwali is. And I think that's the best way for us, bringing people together, sharing our culture, sharing our story. I think that's the best way to celebrate any festival.
That sounds so beautiful. I wish I was there. That sounds amazing. Like, what an amazing, I guess, a whole entire day and evening, really. For people who don't know about the Festival of Diwali, can you just explain to everyone what it is and what it means as well?
So Diwali is when Lord Ram, he's I don't know how to say it. Is the day when he came back to civilization after being banished for 14 years, and then he came back, and that's the day. It was supposed to be the darkest night, and he came back after fighting like a big evil person called Ravan, and then he won the war and he came back. So to welcome him that day, it was supposed to be the dark night. What do you call it?
New moon.
The new moon. There was no
I
moon.
see. Yeah.
To welcome him, all the whole country, the whole Ayodhya, is it right?
Yeah.
They lit up candles, and it's called the Festival of Light. So you
I
win over the
see.
darkness. So he won a fight over Ravan, and it's called winning over the darkness. That's what it represents. So it doesn't have to be like just the light. It could be it's basically it's a
New
new
beginning.
slate, new beginning. You can win over anything. You have any demons you're fighting,
Yeah.
you can start over that day. It represents light in any form, right?
And
So
that's why you do the new bed sheets and the new.
yeah, you kind of just like it's a clean slate for you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so that it's big for us. It's like our Christmas, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's so lovely to know that meaning as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like back home in India, there's a lot of like gifting involved, a lot of food involved, and a lot of just charity work. You do a lot of donations in Diwali. Yeah, so it's like that.
Oh, that's nice. So there's a lot of giving back as well, giving back to the
a lot of giving
community
back,
and
yeah.
to the people. And
Yeah.
really, you guys encompassed that so well as well. When you were in a completely different place, like you gave that food to all of those people. So you did that in itself, which I think is.
Parents were so
amazing.
happy about that. They were like, "Oh, you managed to like feed others, and that's the kindest thing to do in Diwali," and they were really happy about that.
Ah, that's really nice. And do you find that your family, now that they're seeing sort of your travels and your experiences and your amazing Diwali festival that you created, do you find that they are really understanding why you guys are doing this, and that, like you said before, you can have that job and you can experience this lifestyle as well?
Yeah, I think they're understanding that.
Yeah, they've definitely grown in the understanding of this particular aspect since we started traveling. From when we started traveling to now, they have grown in that journey themselves.
Yeah.
Also along with us.
Because they've never seen anybody in India do this, right? They've never
No.
heard of any other kids do it. So it was a very bizarre concept for them to not live in a house. They're like, what do you mean you're not going to live in a house? Like, it just sounded so strange. But now they're seeing that it's normal. We still have a life. We still have friends. We're still like retaining our culture and celebrations. So like, okay, this is a different way of living, but they're still the same kids, and they're still happy, and they're still doing what they want to do. So I think they're happy for us now.
Ah, that's so lovely. I always like to ask at the end of each episode a sustainability question, which is, sustainability wise, what do you wish that you or we had more of?
More of?
Yeah.
Like,
So is there something that,
observing.
it's a very, very big question. People normally find it really hard to start with, and then something sort of clicks. Sometimes people choose a product. Sometimes people choose more knowledge, more sustainable knowledge. It can be anything. It might be something that's related to your culture, or it can be absolutely anything.
What is it that we want to sustain? on this journey long term? I think just meeting great people,
Like,
meeting amazing human beings who inspire us, you know. Yeah.
but are you asking more in terms of like planet sustainability or
Yes,
mental
yeah, yeah.
sustainability?
Okay, environmental sustainability. And then what is it that we want to see more of? I'm a little confused about the question.
Lack of
Yeah, that's right. So, for example, an example would be toothbrushes, for example. People have started making bamboo toothbrushes, but some people will say, actually, no, you could do it this way. Why don't we have more bamboo toothbrushes? So it doesn't have to be a product. Like some other people have said that they wish that there was more easier access for travel in a more sustainable way. So it can be all sorts of different things. And there are some people who do just say really simple things as well. That is just to do with just general lifestyle and just having more knowledge accessible. So for example, with media and things like that, people say, oh, I wish that our advertising wasn't just, for example, McDonald's.
I think everyone needs to, I'm saying it in all seriousness, I think everyone needs to experience the minimalistic life once in their life, because that is, it just shocks you. When we were transitioning from a condo to a van, we realized how much extra stuff we had. And then over the first few months of van life,
we still had extra stuff.
we're still like removing, because end of the day we realized, okay, we need like 5 pairs of clothing, and we need, like, instead of having 7-8 pots to cook, I can cook everything in 2 pots. And like, you just realize how less you need, and that is such a light and low impact way of living. I think I just wish everyone could just start consuming less, and just being more like,
or just try. Like, I mean, there's so many different definitions of being a minimalist, but just the simple action of trying to remove things. Like our rule of thumb is, if we haven't used something for
30 days,
we don't need it. Like, we most likely do not need it. So if everybody could just try that little exercise to see what's around their house that they haven't used for 30 days. And if you haven't used it for 30 days, you're most probably not using it.
anytime
Try to
soon,
give it to somebody else that could potentially use it.
Yeah.
So that happened a lot with, for example, our clothes. We brought a lot of things from our house because we had a lot of storage space there. We just hoarded onto more clothes because we like clothes.
Yeah.
But we realized that we really don't need more than maybe 5 pairs of t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like 2 pairs of pants. And we realized that we were carrying way too much. So we just started removing things every few days and giving it away to donation boxes.
Yeah.
Even like cooking utensils. Why do you need 5 or 6 plates when you're only 2 people? You only need 2 plates.
Also, like, for us, like, because we have less storage, every time we buy something, we are aware that if this is coming in, something is going out. That's the only way we can store something. That's also a good way of looking at shopping, just for your shopping habits. Maybe you want to buy that new shirt, then make sure you get rid of a shirt. You don't need it, you move it on. Just don't hold on to things. And I think that's just a very mindful and lighter way of living, and I feel everyone should give it a try once in their life.
Definitely. And it's something that everybody can do. It doesn't matter if they're in a van space, if they're in a house at the moment, whatever it is, you can just do that. And it does make you feel really good as well. And I think there's something quite relaxing that when you do get rid of those things, you feel like you've got quite a lot of space around you. You do feel lighter, don't you? I remember I did it just the other day. I had so much stuff under my bed and it was driving me crazy, and I've really stripped out like the stuff that I have. My friend always says to me, how do you fit everything into one drawer and one wardrobe? Because she's got like a wardrobe and then another room that's got another wardrobe, and I'm like, oh, it's easy. And I said, you could probably do it like even less as well. But I love that you said that you do it in a 30-day time frame, because I used to say, if you haven't used it in a year, then you don't need it. But I love that shortening it, because it's so true. If you haven't used something in a month, in 30 days,
you're
not using it enough,
live
are you?
without it for 30 days, so you can live without it longer.
Exactly. I love that. That's such a good tip and such a good answer as well. Oh, guys, Sim and Kartik, thank you so much for joining me today on the Tiny Sessions podcast. For anyone who hasn't seen you guys yet, you guys are on Instagram and it's under the Brown Van Life, isn't it?
Yes, and we're also on YouTube. We do like long format videos, sharing our journey on YouTube. So it's the same, the Brown Van Life.
Perfect.
Contact us if you have questions at the Brown Van Life @gmail.com. So everywhere the Brown Van Life is us.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you
so much. We had such a good time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so lovely chatting to you guys. It's so interesting, and it's so wonderful to hear like your journey, but also hear your culture as well. I'm really passionate about like people just hearing about you guys, and I'm so excited that I found and came across you guys. I love it. Hopefully maybe I'll get to meet you guys in person one day as well.
I hope so too.
It'd be so lovely. It'd be really, really lovely. And it's really cool that you're doing this particular journey, because I don't see loads of people, especially when I'm trying to find people, like, and I'm in the UK, I don't see loads of people doing the journey that you're doing, like with Mexico and everything like that. A lot of people often do Europe, or they might go to, say, Australia and hire out a camper van and do it that way. But I don't often see people doing the America journey section that you're doing, which I think is really, really fascinating. So hopefully this might encourage other people that actually you can do that journey as well.
Yeah,
it's very doable. Just the biggest thing that we've heard from older people doing this same journey is that they wish they had done it when they were younger, because this is like the roughest part of the globe.
Yeah.
So if you guys are planning to do this journey, do this.
Get the Americas out of the way first,
as soon as
then
you can,
go to Europe,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
the calmer parts. But
Yeah.
it should be your first leg.
Yeah, that's a really good tip for people. And I hear that a lot as well, when people say, I wish that I did this sooner. And that goes back to what we were saying before as well, doesn't it? Where you said, you just have to go and do it. And I think if people are worried, like, they just have to go and do it and just make that like step over the line almost, because you don't want to later on be that person and say, oh, I wish I did it sooner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't want to be that person.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. What have you guys got planned for the rest of your day?
I think we
go watch a sunset
at the beach and just like take it easy. We've just been, because our Mexico timeline is running out, so we've just been go for the past few weeks, and we are very mindful of not burning ourselves out. That's the only way to do long-term travel. And then we realized that past 2 weeks have been really like tiring on us, so just sit and take multiple naps and just enjoy good food and not do anything. That's the plan.
Just switch
super
off
hard
and
for me,
relax.
but I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be productive all the time, but I have to like hold him down. I was like, no, I'm not doing anything.
It is hard when you're really productive and your brain's like go. It's like, oh.
Yeah. I was like, hey, just sit down, have a beer. It's okay. Chill.
I love that. Oh, well, I will let you guys go and enjoy the sunset later on. But thank you so much for chatting to me, and I can't wait to get this up. And if you're happy for me to, I will get this up much sooner, because I had a space that became free for the December episode, and that isn't a bonus episode. It's an episode that goes straight out in full to all the platforms and Spotify and Amazon and everything like that. So I will get that all sorted, and it goes live on the last Saturday of each month, but I normally put it up like the Friday before that Saturday normally, and people have realized that, and they do start downloading it straight away, which is really lovely. But I always put it up on the Friday post on that evening, and then people start enjoying it over the weekend as well.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and
Perfect.
send us a link so we can share it with all our audience. And
Will do.
perfect that it's coming out end of December. It's holidays, people are
Yeah.
free, and hopefully our story, is entertaining for them and they have a good time listening to us.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Bye.